Hello, everybody. This is Alicia, also AVP, and tonight I'm joined by my fiance Jack. We're going to be doing the novella Sympathy for the Devil, the only Orville novella that there's out there so far.
Now, Seth has explained that this was supposed to be an episode from season three, but
Correct.
because of the COVID stuff and the restrictions that were put on them, they had to drop this episode.
Right. Exactly. I mean, he has also said that they eventually may film this into an actual episode if season 4 gets renewed. Hey, Chloe, good to see you. So maybe we'll see an actual film adaptation of this on the small screen, so to speak. Don't know. But this is all fictionalized version of how we're going to depict these various characters. And some of these are pretty long chapters. And because they're pretty long, we have to divide some of these up into longer sections. And Jack and I are doing the character voices ourselves. Forgive us if we sound out, hey, Ashley, good to see you. So we're basically just being us. We're not professionals in any sense of the word. We're just being ourselves with this a little
Speak
bit. I
for
mean,
yourself. I'm kidding.
how
Not a
dare
professional
you?
either.
How dare you, Avatar? Get out of here. No, it's season 2. It's all good fun. So yeah, but I mean, we are letting you guys know ahead of time. Not in this in the prologue. Now there is a little bit of controversial content, and we will not be reading that at all. We will just share the screen.
Yeah, we will not be doing any of those chants.
No, no,
Yeah,
no.
especially since they can be very much taken out of context.
Yes, and they're very problematic. And I don't want to be canceled. I don't want anything to happen to. I don't want any threats against me or my fiance as it is. The world is ugly as it is. We don't need any more of that.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I said, it's gonna be interesting reading this novella. The novella, from what we were reading, it looks like it takes place in the early 20th century in a hotel, and you will see from there what happens.
Well, either it takes place in the 20th century or it takes place in their century, but there is a lot of historical information that they put in there about
Yes.
about the 1906 New York and the Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts.
Right, exactly. So I'm guessing it may be a time travel type story, but it's still too early to tell.
Yeah, the prologue is basically the teaser.
Right, exactly. I mean, we're going to meet a couple hotel staff members in this. We're going to deal with a couple, the Vogels, and also their little newborn as well. So, yeah, this is basically the backstory a little bit. So, that's what we're trying to give you a little bit of connotation so you guys know what we're. So, in case you hear different voices, don't be alarmed. Don't adjust your computer, don't adjust your phone. It's still us. And forgive me for
Oh,
ignoring the chat, but yeah, it's kind of hard to read and multitask.
yeah.
I mean, I've got a moderator in the chat, Chloe. She will be monitoring that for us. But yeah. So forgive me if I don't respond to you in the chat. Because, like I said, I have to read narration. Jack's doing voices. I'm doing voices. Kind of hard to do both. So, without further ado, the sympathy for the devil. Are you ready, my dear?
that's my that's my evil laugh, but I could do an evil cackle too, but I don't want to. It's That's a loud one.
Right. Alrighty. Okay. Sympathy for the devil. And this is a pretty cool cover because we get to see Bortus in the upper right corner. Then we see Claire, Isaac, Gordon, Lamar, Tala, Ed, Kelly, and we have a glowy kind of figure here. We don't know much about this one yet.
Now this has to take place before what's her name dies because she's in it.
Yes,
What
Charlie's in here too.
do you know the which episode this is in between?
I believe this is between episode 8 and 9. I believe this was supposed to be originally between those two, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So this was just before Charlie's death, yes. And there's a lot of schematics I see in the right corner. So it looks like about like a circuit board kind of stuff. I don't know what that's all related to. And this right here, where my mouse is hovering over, it looks like barbed wire kind of thing, but I can't quite tell what it is.
Yeah, it looks like barbed wire.
And like I said, this is all schematics of some kind. Like I said, it looks like a circuitry for like a motherboard kind of
It's like a
thing.
circuit board or something.
Right, exactly. Okay. The Orville, Sympathy for the Devil, Seth MacFarlane. Hyperion Avenue. So yeah, this is his second novel type thing. Okay. And there are
Oh,
14
by the way,
chapters.
Hyperion Avenue in Los Angeles. I think that was one of Walt Disney's uh, where he did some of his animations. Once
Ah,
he got a little bigger.
nice. But yeah, there's 14 chapters. There's a prologue, which we will count as chapter 15. And then there's also an epilogue, which we will count as 16. So there's technically 16 chapters in this.
So theoretically, hopefully, if they renew it soon, by the time we get to the epilogue, 16 months later, we'll have a new season.
At least 16 months, yes. Because, like I said, each one will be divided up into single episodes. Some may be a little bit longer, some may be a little bit shorter, but they will all be divided up. We will keep you guys posted on that. I think chapter 1, we will probably divide up into 2 chapters at least, 2 episodes a week. But we'll keep you guys posted on when we do that one. Okay, prologue. The hotel was as luxurious as any high-end lodging that New York City had to offer. Founded by John Jacob Astor IV, just a decade before, the 19th-story French Beaux Arts, which means beautiful arts, construct had however somewhat been controversial. It was built on Fifth Avenue, directly across from the opulent homes of the Vanderbilt family, which were doomed to be dwarfed by the towering height of the St. Regis. The Vanderbilts, along with a handful of other fabulously wealthy landowners, immediately set out to crush the project by any means possible. Lawsuits, allegation, disturbance of the peace due to the blasting required for excavation, accusations of inadequate fireproofing, and even the suggestion that the hotel was in violation of early 20th century liability laws, which forbade the holding of a liquor license by any establishment within 200 feet of a church. All attempts failed. The $5.5 million hotel opened to great fanfare on September 4th, 1904. As the years passed, its prestige and popularity only grew more robust, and soon it had become a staple destination for convenience and comfort among business and traveler pleasure-seeking vacationers alike. On this particular day, the opulent lobby crackled with energy as guests and travelers hurried to and fro, bathed in the light of the elegant overhead chandeliers that as yet showed little tarnish. A calendar hung on the wall behind the front desk, displaying an intricate etching of well-to-do city dwellers strolling the paths of Central Park, beneath bold block type, April 1914. The clerk smiled as he offered a fountain pen to the man standing on the other side of the desk.
It's wonderful to have you here with us again, Mr. Beechcroft. I hope you and your family would have good health.
The well-heeled gentleman beamed with prideful glow as he regarded his smartly dressed, freshly scrubbed-looking wife, son, and daughter.
Please.
He said with a gentle baritone.
The pleasure is all ours. At this point, I wouldn't dream of staying anywhere else in this city.
Even if he wanted to, I wouldn't let him, his wife chimed in. Mr. Beechcroft took his cue.
Now you know who runs the household.
A warm chuckle rippled through the groups. The patron and the manager enjoyed an easy, benign familiarity.
Don't worry.
Said the clerk with a playful wink to Miss Beechcroft. Your secret is...
Your
Oh, sorry.
secret's Your secret is safe with me.
We stayed at the plaza 2 years ago just to sample something new, and I must say we. A wave of murmurs interrupted the man's frivolous entry into a frivolous exchange. Everyone looked at the sound of the commotion. In the entryway, a frantic, desperate-looking woman pushed past the indignant bellman, half running, half stumbling, toward the reception area. Her apparel seemed suggested a generous wealth, with a well-fitted, high-waisted dress trimmed with frothy passementerie, elbow-length sleeves, and long gloves, topped with a long hat featuring a deep crown. No one was paying any attention to her finery. What caught the crowd's interest was the bundle she held in her arms. It was an infant. Swaddled in soft pale lavender fabric, the child flitted his gaze about with a combined mixture of curiosity and fear that all newborn babies seem to exhibit. There was, however, no confusion about the mother's expression terror. She moved to the center of the grand lobby, her eyes darting about with visible panic. She quickly scanned the bevy of nonplussed patrons, evidently searching for something or someone, it seemed. At last she set her manic gaze on the clerk behind the front desk and barreled toward him. The clerk and the surrounded onlookers all reacted with expressions of stunned surprise as she attempted to deposit the child into his arms. Please! She cried, hands trembling, eyes with, take my baby!
Excuse me?
The clerk tried to resist the forced offer and gently pushing back, but the woman was impatient. Please take him! Keep him safe!
Ma'am, who are you?
Please, I'm begging you! Fiercely persistent, the woman pushed the infant across the countertop, so the clerk had no choice but to receive it.
Ma'am, could you tell me what this is?
But the woman ignored him. Her green eyes blazed like emeralds as she brushed quivering fingertips against the baby's cheek. I love you, she said with a hated whisper. With all my heart, I'll come back for you. Do you hear me? I'll come back. The clerk now spoke with more firm tone.
I need you to tell me what's going on.
Take care of him! What should have been a desperate plea, in fact, sounded more like a barked order. Her fiery gaze implied that should the clerk falter in his new unsolicited role as the boy's caretaker, there would be dire consequences. For now, however, she allowed herself one last longing glance at her abandoned offspring, her mind doing its utmost to take and preserve a permanent, clear-eyed snapshot despite the emotional fog of the moment. Then at last, bringing a cool burst of air gushing through the gilded front doors, she was gone.
She didn't even tell me what her name was,
said the clerk, still cradling the infant in his arms. The child was now blissfully slumbering, completely unaware of the drama unfolding around him in the small, cramped office. The accommodations utilitarian room shared few features with the well-positioned lobby mere steps away. 3 other members of the St. Regis half suffered over the sleeping baby, expression of concern and curiosity etched on their faces.
Maybe he hasn't got a name,
said the concierge.
Harry, what am I supposed to do with him? There's
said
no way I can keep him. My mother is still sick, and I can barely take care of her. There's always the orphanage,
offered the bellman. The maid grunted a guttural blast of derision. You can't leave him there. Have you ever seen the insides of those places? They're rat-infested prisons is what they are. He'd better be off, Jim. You just dumped him off on the street. Then a flicker of inspiration ignited her eyes. Wait a minute, she said. What about the Vogels? The bellman raised an eyebrow as he looked up a cigarette.
Well, now, there's an inspired idea.
The concierge appeared left out.
Who are the Vogels? They're a couple staying in 1207.
Answered the bellman.
They're from Berlin, and they,
He paused and glanced at the maid. She duly took the baton. One of the girls overheard Mrs. Vogel and her husband talking last week. They recently lost a baby.
Oh, my goodness. How horrible. How?
Typhoid.
Oh, Lord, those poor people.
I wonder, mused the maid. I wonder if we should ask them. The concierge, who had been leaning casually on the edge of the accounting desk, suddenly rose to his full height.
That,
he warned,
is not a wise notion.
Why not? Said the maid, whirling to face him.
If you do that, you're admitting to eavesdropping. I know you're trying to help, but if they take it the wrong way, you could lose your job.
The maid appeared undeterred. I'm willing to take that gamble,
So am I.
said the clerk. The gamble turned out to be a good one. Thus the maid and the clerk stood back and smiled with beaming aspect of a team of carpenters or painters immediately following the completion of time-consuming work. The Vagos were unassuming but kindly-looking couple who appeared to be in their mid-30s. Gunther and Elise Vago, he with sandy brown hair and a plump physique, she with a lighter shade and a trimmer figure, sat close to each other on the flowered sofa, gazing down at the stirring child whom she now held. Elisa's eyes sparkled with fresh tears as she spoke in heavily accented, but nevertheless fairly fluent English. He is so very beautiful, she cooed. The most precious child in the world. It has never been such a long time waiting for this day. Whoever may doubt that the Lord hears all prayers should only look into the eyes of this miracle. Gunther appeared to suddenly remember that he and his wife were not alone in the suite. He glanced up to his benefactors.
What you have done for us, it will be impossible to repay. How can we ever thank you for this? Don't thank us. Sorry
The
about that.
clerk smiled.
You said it yourself. God has blessed you. Thank him.
The boy came to us with no name, the maid chimed in. Not that it's our business, but I'd love to know. Do you have any thoughts at all about what you might call him? Gunther and Elise Vago again exchanged a pair of resolved grins.
We decided long ago that if we ever had a boy, we would name him Otto, after my father.
I wish he were alive now, said Elise, to see for himself. He would be so proud to share his name with you. Otto. The infant's eyes fixated quizzically on his new mother as she spoke. He will have the very best life we can give him. He will be educated and cared for, but most of all, he will be loved, and he will grow up to be a good man. God bless Otto,
God bless Otto.
said Gunther. And that is the end of the prologue, everyone.
Do, 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 do. Theme song. Do, 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 do. Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, that is the intro. That is the Vagos, Otto, the maid, the concierge. So that's as far as we've gotten so far.
The clerk.
So thank you, darling, for doing the voices that you did. But yes, like I said, the next chapter is a little bit longer. We'll probably divide that one up into at least 2 episodes because it's a little bit longer. But yeah, that was an introduction that I was not expecting. A baby to be abandoned at a hotel. Interesting.
I thought it was I don't know. I don't have any thoughts yet.
I mean, it should be interesting to see what happens to the Vogels. I mean, from the little bit I've glanced through, it does look like it deals with the Vogels a little bit more.
And it does seem like it takes place. It does seem like it takes place in the past, doesn't it?
So far it does.
Yeah.
So like it's 1914. So yes.
So maybe this Otto person becomes an important figure in life, and or or whatever. Maybe his like grandkids or whatever start the union. You know what I mean? Like
maybe he interfaces with some of the cast. I don't know.
So we'll see.
We will see what happens. I mean,
because I have no idea. All I know is it's called Sympathy for the Devil.
Exactly, and we just know that.
and now there's a baby that was abandoned, and now it has a home.
Yes, and his name is Otto, and we know that the couple is German. I mean, other than that, we really
Dr.
don't.
Otto Octavius. No, wrong.
Right, wrong franchise, darling. But yes, like I said, we will keep you guys posted when we do the next one. It will probably be next month because, like I said, we're going to try to divide up this Orville content as long as we can as possible.
Stretch it shit out.
I mean, honestly, we want at least we want to be renewed.
Caramello. Stretch it out. You know, the little caramel bars you can stretch out, or or like that was actually a commercial too. But also like Stephen Colbert, like when he's trying to tell his people to like take to take a longer time. He does this which means stretch it out. Or if he wants shorter time, he does this, which means shorter time.
Yes, exactly. But
Yeah.
we're trying to stretch it out this case.
Because this is all we got at this point.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because we've watched all the shows and we've read all the comics.
Exactly. I mean, we still will probably do watch parties for the season 3, but right now we're trying to do the novella, give you guys a little bit of Orville content while we wait.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because after this, we'll just do it all over again. We'll start with episode 1, season 1.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
With probably the worst part, like the worst scene in the Orville. Like it's the most like Family Guy-ish.
Yes, with the dog.
But then like, you know, it gets better from there.
It does. It gets much, much better. But yeah, I mean, I'm curious to find out what happens to Otto and all of them in this novella. Yeah. I mean, should be interesting to find out what happens.
What are your thoughts on Otto? Comment in the link below, or leave your shit on the comments. How do they do that?
So leave your comment. What do you think about Otto? Do you think he's a planetary union person? Do you think he's someone with the aliens? Is he someone in the simulator that someone befriends? Makes you wonder.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Please don't. Well, we will see you guys hopefully next month when we review chapter 1. At least one episode will be of that. But yeah, I think that's everything. You got anything else you want to add, darling, before we finish?
Renew the Orville.
Yes, I will put that promo up too before we close out that Jack made. Let you guys see that. Because we want to renew it, please.
Yes, please renew the Orville.
Yes, yes, yes.
He might be someone.
Oh, yeah, I like that one. She says she thinks he might be someone that at least helps starts the union. Good guess.
Probably a good guess, yeah.
That's a very good guess. I mean, but we'll see what happens. I mean, we'll keep you guys posted when we do the next one. Like I said, it'll be next month when we review chapter 1 and read it for you guys. But like I said, there's a little bit that we looked at last night. We're not going to read that.
Like whenever there's like Nazi chants, I think we'll safely just be like, yeah, we're not going to say that, but
like I said, you guys can see the screen. You can see what we're reading. We're reading the same thing. It's just certain things we're not reading to avoid controversy.
Sure.
But yeah. All right, everyone. Have a good night.